welcome back to the Fenway Focus. My name is Derek, and as always, I'm here with Jason as Rob Refsnyder hits a home run in Mexico. So that's fun. Um, Obviously, was against a lefty. No, duh. And with that, we are going to be discussing the Red Sox opening day roster, and kind of projecting the 2025 season for the Red Sox. We did in our last show do an opening day roster prediction. Neither of us were completely correct, but a lot. I don't want to say a lot has changed, but kind of a little bit. Wilyer Abreu seems like he's healthy, which was a big question mark when we last recorded. Sean Newcomb looks like he's going to be the number 5 starter to start the season at least. A lot has changed. But before we get into any of that, Jason, how are you doing?
Doing great. We have 2 days when we're recording this. I'll come out on opening day eve, but I'm excited, dude. And we're excited to do this. And a lot. I mean, you said not a lot has happened. I think a lot has happened.
Well, not a lot has happened in terms of like big stuff, but like a lot has happened in terms of like,
but I mean, you're not going to get the big stuff usually unless there's a huge injury, and that didn't happen. But I think in terms of the most part, everyone stayed healthy, and there's a lot of roster takeover. Like when I say healthy, I mean like no one tore their UCL, no one tore their ACL, no one is out for the foreseeable future.
No one pulled a Garrett Cole.
No, yeah, it didn't happen. So we'll talk about it.
Yeah, imagine being a Yankees fan and we're so excited for the year.
I don't see them having a record above 500. Honestly,
they might struggle.
Conversation for another day.
That is definitely a conversation for another day. I do want to ask about your just thoughts. Let's start with the position players. You can take this wherever you want to go with it. I actually don't mind. I'll just kind of follow your lead. But what do you want to talk about in terms of position players?
We can talk about what is where we are now, I guess. I mean, it's Wong, Casas, Christian Campbell made it. Bregman's playing third. That's a big.
That's true.
Yeah. That defense is going to be great. Story at short, Duran in left, Cedon center, Abreu in right, and then DH to start the year is Rafael Devers. And I think on paper it's good, but then you got to look at the possibility. We know Yoshida is going to have a rehab stint in Worcester to start the year. When he's healthy, where does he slot in? Right? I think that's a conversation that you have to wait and see what happens. But assuming everyone's healthy, you got to see like who, if something's wrong, it's a interesting conversation. But we know he's going to get outfield reps. He's not going to get DH reps. They're going to give him reps in left field and then give Duran set time in center, which means Rafaela, you're the utility guy now, super utility guy. What worries me about that is right now, you have a really dang good defense, especially in the outfield. You have Duran, who's fast. Rafaela can be a Gold Glover in center. And then you have the reigning right field AL Gold Glove in Abreu. And we see every year Cora not complains, but he said, the defense has got to get better. That is your best defensive lineup. That's your best defensive left to right. And you're just going to change that for Yoshida? I guess his value at the plate better be good. But it's one of those things where it's like, if he's struggling at the plate, I don't want to see him. But it's a conversation they're going to have when they need to have it. And that's the biggest thing in my mind about these position players. There's obviously the Romy Gonzalez question. If he'll probably make it. The platoon question, is David Hamilton going to start against righties? And will Christian Campbell's probably going to be the everyday second baseman? Are they going to get to a point where Campbell's starting against lefties and Hamilton, if he's hitting well, going to start against righties? I think there might be a point into that, but it's one of those you got to wait and see. And I think
guess who goes
time's
deep?
going to tell.
Guess who just went deep? Christian Campbell.
What? Shit. That ball had a family.
Oh, that was the Refsnyder homer. I mean, that ball did too. That ball though was straight, dead-centered laser beam.
But I'm saying. But my point is simply, if he's struggling, You might see
Yeah.
some David Hamilton here and there because Hamilton had a solid spring too. He didn't have a great
Yeah.
spring, but he had a solid spring.
Solid. Yeah.
I think you're gonna and they like Cora liked using him last year because of his speed. He was bad at shortstop, but he's not going to play shortstop unless something happens to Story. But even then, he's not the next man up. The next man up is Marcelo Meyer. That's
Who had
the biggest
a
thing.
really good spring.
Who had a dang good spring.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I heard a few things about Story's back being a little bit more of a concern than they thought. But I
Yeah,
don't
but I
know.
think too. I think too. They're also going to want to take it easy with Story. They're not going to want to risk anything either. Like I think
This is
there's
not me
also
reporting anything, by the way. I'm not.
No,
I'm
yeah.
not an insider.
I think they are definitely going to want to take it easy with Story. They don't like.
Right.
I think they're going to realize like his health is that like important thing. As David, I still can't get over David Hamilton wearing the number 17. I'm sorry, it just looks weird. Just looks weird. But no,
Why? Wait. Why?
I don't. It just doesn't feel like a David Hamilton number.
You know what's weird? Wearing 00. He's not even on the
Well,
team anymore.
He's not on the team, so guess what? Who cares? He didn't make the team because he sucks.
It's a cool concept, but it looks weird.
Hey, it was comeuppance for
You know what I don't
yelling at
like?
Shohei.
You know what I'm not a fan of? Stupid thing. I'm not a fan of Rafaela wearing 3. I like the double digits.
I don't mind. I would have rather him just wearing 2. I know Bregman ended up taking it, but like they could have given
2,
him 2
3.
before
Yeah,
Bregman.
what a difference.
Yeah, no, it does make a difference though.
Name 5 Red Sox to wear the number 3.
Rafaela,
Reese McGuire, Sandy Leon.
That's why you had to say Reese.
David Ross.
Yep.
Did he wear 3?
I have one. Yeah, I got a couple. Mike Aviles and Jose Peraza.
Mike Aviles, Jose
and
Peraza.
Aruz.
Wait, no, Peraza. I thought Peraza wore 5.
Nope, he wore 3.
You wore 3? Oh no, 5 was Pilar, wasn't it?
Yeah, 5 was Pilar.
5 was Pilar. 3.
Yeah.
Who wore 3? Aruz wore 3.
Aruz also wore it. Yeah, but Aruz wore it in 21 and 22.
Oh.
Because then Aruz.
Who wore it in 18? Who wore it in 21? Someone wore it.
Aruz.
In 21?
Yeah, he wore it in 21 and 22.
Jesus. Okay, anyways. I don't like going through this rabbit hole.
Yeah, that is true. That is true. But I don't know. I'll get us back on track here. I think though, just like I kind of like in 2 year actually Nick Starr is playing first base tonight, which is an interesting point because with the Red Sox because Casas last year had the injury issue, which was kind of a freak injury, but they still don't have a backup first baseman. In all honesty, I know it'll be either Sogard or Romy most likely, whichever one makes the roster. It seems like they're waiting on Romy to be healthy, but I don't know. We'll see. It
depends on a lot of things because I think even if you have Romy, where he's just gonna be your utility guy. I don't even think he's your backup first baseman anymore. I thought he was. Now I think it's Wong / Narvaez / yeah, that's it. Maybe Rob Refsnyder can play first. But no, I'm kidding. But yeah, I think the role with Romy going forward, he'll start here and there, give Guy day off. But I think it's going to be interesting to see. Again, I'm going to circle back to this lineup. How many games does Devers get at third? From opening day to May 1st. I'm going to be looking at the percentage of games he plays versus the percentage of games he plays at third. Is it going to be over, under 25? If it's under 25, he's going to be the DH all year. There's no way you take out. If Alex Bregman gets hurt, yeah, Rafael Devers is the next guy, right? Then you're rolling with the same lineup you did last year, kind of. Or no, you know what? Or does Meyer play third?
I was just gonna say that. I was just thinking that.
Does Meyer play third? That's an interesting question. I think Devers will get maybe a few games between now and May 1st. now is an opening day, but it's interesting, and I'm intrigued to see what they do with that. And I'll circle back to it one more time. When Yoshida comes back, boy, they got a lot of decision making to make, right? Because you don't put him in, because when he comes back, what's the move? Like, what's the roster move? Is it
Romy or
Romy?
Sogard? I think so.
Romy/Sogard. But then it's Hamilton. Yeah, it is. Yeah,
It has to
actually,
be.
yeah, it has
It
to be.
has to be. It has to be.
But yeah, I think.
I don't know.
Yeah, I
I'll
have no
just put
more
it like
thoughts
that.
on it. I think there's a lot.
I'll put it like this, because I think it has to be Romy or Sogard, just because Hamilton, I think, is going to prove too valuable.
Yes, absolutely. Do we want to move to the pitching staff?
We can.
Anything else you got to say?
Nah, not really. I will just say real quick, on the whole defense thing, and we talked about this a little bit on the Pesky Report last night. Myself, Jake, and Hunter, we talked about it a little bit. But I'll just bring it up here. Their defense, having those elite defensive outfielders, it's gonna make the Roman Anthony situation really interesting. And we talked
Oh,
about it in the
absolutely.
context of Roman Anthony maybe not playing center field in Worcester, just for the fact of, like, if he's not playing center field, it's not a thing of, like, him not being able to play center field. It's more so, like, the Red Sox legitimately have 2 Gold Glove center fielders, and they have a guy in Willier who could be a very solid defensive center fielder, in my opinion. So, not that Willier would play center over Romy, because I think they love Willier, right? But, like, over Roman, but, like, I think that's kind of like a whole, like, thing where it's like, when you start looking at the big picture, Roman Anthony's most likely spot is probably a corner, and that's not a knock on him. That's not that he can't play center field. It's just that's probably what's going to end up because of Duran, because of Rafaela, right?
Correct.
And it will most likely end up being a corner spot.
Yeah. Yeah. I think it's one of those. If Willier goes down, he's the next man up, in all likelihood. Right? Because who else is there? This is going to be an interesting 3 months.
It's going to be. Well, here's the other thing too. It's not even 3 months. Here's the other thing. This Yoshida getting put into the mix really mixes things up, especially if Devers is DHing, because Yoshida, like, yeah, he can play left, and, like, maybe Duran center, Brain right, and Rafaela just kind of gets plugged in wherever it sees fit. But, like, I think the other issue is, like, Roman Anthony is going to be right at some point. There could be an in-season trade at, like, the deadline, right, of one of
Even
their everyday
before.
outfielders. And the thing is, too, you still have Rob Refsnyder, who's a lefty killer. You kind of have to play him against lefties. And it seems like Willier and him are going to platoon again, which seems to make the most sense. But, like, there's still question marks, right? Because what if Roman Anthony's ready and proves he can play every day in the big leagues? Now, like, that's another piece to the puzzle that you just don't. There's not enough pieces left to put all the. I guess, like, there's too many people for only so many spots, and it's not a bad problem to have. But, like, I could even see at the deadline the Red Sox maybe going, we love Willier, but Roman Anthony's going to go play right field, and we're going to go and, we're going to go trade Willier for some pitching, right? I'm not saying that's going to happen, but, like, just like, or it could be in the off season. I don't know what it's going to be. It could be something, but that could be something that waits till the off season. But I think it is going to be interesting to see at least and figure out, like, what are they going to do. Maybe it ends up solving itself out, maybe. But I think that whole Alpha, and also Christian Campbell too. You never, like, I know he's slotted in at second base, but, like, what happens when Marcelo Meyer's ready? Like, that's a middle infielder, Christian Campbell. We'll see what the defense looks like at second base. It's not that I don't think he can play second base, but, like, it might be at a point. Maybe they want to try Meyer at second, or maybe they want to put Meyer at third and put Bregman at second, although I don't see why they would do that. But, like, I'm just throwing things into the air. Like,
it's a good problem to have, right?
Yes, it's a really good problem to have. It's not a bad problem at all, but there is going to be at some point this year. Yes, injuries are going to happen too, so we also have to take that into account. But at some point there's going to be a roster logjam, and the Red Sox might have, outside of the catcher position, because the catcher position, you're going to have 2 catchers on your team anyways. The other, spots, with the exception of like Rob Refsnyder, might be guys who should be playing every day.
First base. Yeah,
Casas,
no.
Casas.
Wait, no. Oh, every day. Yeah, no, you're right.
Yeah, like
You're
even
right.
the guys on the bench, because if Meyer and Anthony get called up, and let's say and they take the place of like Romy and I don't know, David Hamilton, like you still have Yoshida who's on the injured list, like you might be looking at them like they might have to trade somebody. They might have to if there's no injuries. If there's no like injuries at that point in time. Now there will be injuries, but the Red Sox legitimately mid-season might have like 11 to 12 guys for 8 spots. I'm not including the catcher position because you're gonna have 2 catchers on your team regardless.
We'll see. I think it's a good time to transition to the rotation. We've been on the starting lineup for a while. Not starting lineup. We've been on the position players for a long time. So yeah, let's go to the pitchers. The probable, I'm gonna say the rotation because it's pretty sure
the
Newcomb's
rotation.
gonna
We
make
kind
it.
of know what it is now.
Crochet, Houck, Bueller, Richard Fitz, and Sean Newcomb. If you told me Sean Newcomb would make it out of spring training, I would think this like everyone got hurt, which is kind of true, right? But not really, because we know it's only 2 weeks, if that. Right? He's gonna get 2 starts at bare 2 starts probably max. Then Bayo's gonna be ready. Bayo's just behind everybody. Giolito's gonna have an outing. He's gonna start his rehab in Worcester. So it seems like him and Bayo are not far behind. Cutter Crawford seems like he's behind by a lot. But I think in terms of a rotation, you know what you're getting out of the first 3, probably. Crochet is going to be really good. Houck had a rough spring, but at the same time, he had a rough spring last year, and he was really dang good last season. But the one thing that really sticks out to me, though, Houck was working on a third pitch last spring, and that's why I think he was getting shelled a lot. This spring, he has the third pitch in the splitter, and he was still getting shelled. But granted, you don't know what they're working on. That's why you don't take spring training stats into account. You're just throwing fastballs, you're working on stuff you don't know. So I would put, okay, a little bit alarming, but let's see how he does in the regular season. And, Bueller looked really good. If we can, if the Red Sox can get the playoff Bueller, that'll be great. And then Richard Fitz and Newcomb. Fitz had his moments, but I think he looked good last season, but high FIP. Like I feel like a lot of the contact was relatively hard last year, but we're talking this year. Velocity's up. Is he the one who has the new the change, the kick change? The kick change, the same one that Clay Holmes developed. And then Newcomb. I don't know how to feel about it. Like it was him over Priester, which I thought Priester was for sure going to get the job. But
they might think Newcomb's going to be easy DFA, though.
True.
They might be thinking that.
Yeah, they maybe want to work some things with Priester, but last season with Oakland in 7 starts, 6.30 ERA, but he was pitching out of the bullpen, I believe. With 7.17 WHIP. Whatever. He had a 1-0 record. Right?
Yeah, because that means something.
Yeah, it does. It means you're undefeated.
Doesn't. Yeah,
you're undefeated.
Totally.
No, wins for a relief pitcher are the most misleading stat out there. They absolutely do not matter.
No, I would say that I think for me the issue with this rotation, or at least the concern I have, is the long if the Red Sox want to make a deep postseason run, my concern is how is this rotation going to hold up throughout the entire season and into the postseason? Because we saw Garrett Crochet last year with the White Sox get put on an innings limit and start to kind of, I don't want to say fade, but, we started to show a little bit more late in the year. But how much of that, too, is just because the White Sox sucked, right? We don't know.
No,
But he was put on an innings limit late, from the whole entire second half last year. Tanner Houck did fade at the end of the year last year. You can't ignore that.
So
Walker
did Cutter.
Buehler, yes, it's his second year removed from Tommy John, which typically is a good thing, but he did not have a great regular season last year. He had an ERA over 5, right? Are you going to get that Walker Buehler, or are you going to get the one who was in the playoffs in the pre-Tommy John Walker Buehler? Are you going to get that? And then in terms of people like, yes, Giolito does have a reputation as a workhorse. He's also coming off internal brace procedure, which, yes, it's not Tommy John. It's not as invasive, but it's still a very, kind of big surgery to have, especially as a pitcher, right? We don't know how he's going to bounce back from that. Brian Bayo, that's a guy who had his rough moments last year, had his better moments, but it's still a thing. That's a guy the Red Sox are looking at to take that step. Can he take that step and kind of sustain it throughout the season? Obviously, he's starting the season injured, so we'll see. And then Cutter Crawford, felt like at times it looked like he maybe started to wear out a little bit. So it's going to be.
He also had the knee issue. Remember, he also had the knee issue.
Exactly. So, but it's still though brings the question though of can this rotation last the entire season? It is a valid question. I'm not saying they can't, because I definitely think they can, but this isn't going to be a rotation where Crochet and Houck are eating innings like crazy, and Buehler's eating innings, and Giolito comes in midseason comes in as whenever he's ready and just eats innings like we know him to do. It might not be that. It might be kind of, I don't want to say the Blake Snell way of doing things, but it might be the Blake Snell. Your starter's really good, but he's only going to go 5 innings.
Right. And here's the thing. Everyone has their own concerns. I mean, it goes without saying. Crochet never pitched over 150 innings in his major league career. We know that. Houck looked really bad at the end of the season last year. Just gassed. Why? He's never pitched that much in his major league career. Buehler, you said it, 2 years removed from Tommy John, did not look great in the regular season, had an ERA over 5. And there's everyone else. Richard Fitz, yeah. I mean, he won't stay in the majors for long unless he pitches well. Cutter Crawford, same thing, the knee issue. Let's see what happens. Bayo has his own concerns. Giolito hasn't pitched since 23. And then that's why you have all this depth in case stuff we forgot to mention, you didn't even mention Patrick Sandoval, who will come back at the All-Star break.
That's true.
He's a solid arm too. Yeah, Patrick Sandoval. Yeah, and they got him for 2 years too.
We're gonna pretend like I didn't. We're gonna pretend like the trade I was suggesting a couple years ago doesn't exist for Patrick Sandoval. We're gonna pretend it never existed.
Sure, whatever.
Existed. Yeah,
but this is why you have all this depth for stuff like this, for concerns like this. That's why you trade for a Quinn Priester. This is why you keep a guy like Hunter Dobbins. You don't trade him away. Richard Fitz. You're going to have, if everyone's healthy, you have a 6-man. The Red Sox didn't commit to that because they knew stuff like this was going to happen. You knew someone is going to go down. Someone's always not going to be healthy. That's the reality. Every year for the past 3 seasons, we say, if everyone's healthy, it's going to be a solid rotation. Well, guess what? Not everyone was healthy. And the Red Sox still had a solid rotation last year, right? Even if Giolito was healthy, it would have been a completely different look team. But yeah, can it sustain? I think we'll learn quickly. We'll know what Crochet is. Crochet had an outstanding spring. Buehler did too. I don't envision Newcomb making more than 3 starts. Because he'll start against
3
because it's going to be. Yeah, I said. What did I say? More than 2? I thought I said more than 3.
Yeah, you said more than 3. I'm saying I'm agreeing with you.
I think he'll get. He won't need to be DFA'd early, but I mean, me and you brought it up, right? You have Crawford, Bayo, Giolito, and Yoshida on the 15th. Well,
he also can't be optioned. I don't think Newcomb has any options.
Does he have no options?
I'm pretty sure he has no options. So I'm pretty sure he'd have to be DFA'd. You might as well just DFA him anyways at that point. And I think that's what they might be thinking.
So with the guys we mentioned, right? We have Christian Campbell, who's on an NRI. Newcomb has no options. Yeah, you're right. Shit.
Well, actually, it might just be Fangraphs bugging out because he's not technically on the 40 man. It could be that. It might be that, in all honesty. I'm not sure though, but he might not have options. I'm just saying I don't know if that is Fangraphs bugging out.
Well, anyways, whatever. Point being,
no, it's not Fangraphs. He has no options. He has no options. I just double check. He's got no options.
Yeah, I was gonna say I don't think there's no way because why
he has been sent down a decent amount. There is that.
Yeah, I mean I'm on his base. I'm on his reference page. Yeah, no way he has options. Why would he be non? You don't just non-tender a guy like. Actually, I don't know. Whatever. Point being, Newcomb and Christian Campbell, they both need to be out of the 40 man. You have two easy moves. You put Murphy on the 60 day, and you put Penrod on the 60 day. After that, it gets very tricky, right? You have Newcomb would seemingly be the first. Then who's next? A lot of vulnerable spots, right?
If they have faith in Sebi Zavala, it could be like Sable. But like even then, that's probably.
But
difficult.
Even then, who the heck?
That's probably difficult. That's difficult.
Very difficult.
Yeah, it is.
That is extremely difficult. So I don't know what the leash is with Josh Winkowski, but his spots are vulnerable. Heck, even a guy like Greg Weissert, if they have to make a tough decision, I don't think they do it, but they're scarce. Nick Sogard probably gets DFA'd before any of that.
Maybe. I think Winkowski, though, is before him. I would say Winkowski's
definitely. Yeah, Winkowski, Sogard. I don't like saying Weissert, but maybe
it might be if he doesn't have a good like first like month, he might be a very.
They don't need to do it, but Murphy.
Also, can we also
Murphy's interesting too.
Hold on. Can we talk about how Jack Leiter's starting the Rangers' second game of the season against what?
Good for him.
And the Dick Fitz versus Jacob DeGrom Sunday matchup. That's fun.
Love how Jacob DeGrom is their fourth starter.
Yeah, because that makes sense. Who's
starting the third game?
A Leiter, a Tyler Mahle.
No. Huh?
Yeah, Tyler Mahle. Remember, he signed with them last offseason, not this past offseason, the offseason before.
Because he got what?
He was recovering from Tommy John.
So the Rays DFA'd him, and he went to the.
He was with the Reds. Wasn't he? Or no, I'm thinking of the Twins. He was with the Twins.
No,
he got traded to the. Mahle was traded to the Twins.
Sorry. Mahle was traded to the Twins, got Tommy John,
to the Twins, and then
the Rangers
became a free agent.
Okay. So I think that's a lot for the rotation. I think we know there are question marks, even though it's very deep. We know what we're gonna get probably out of most of these guys. Some still up in the air, but then one before we move on, which the depth is really good, right? Priester, Dobbins, Criswell, maybe if you need him to start, which is a good spot to transition to the bullpen, because the bullpen is the biggest question mark on this team. I think you can ask anybody on Twitter, anyone who's a fan of the team, anyone who's follows the team to some extent, would say the bullpen is the biggest question mark. The Red Sox named Aroldis Chapman their closer to start off the year. That's the biggest part of that, is to start off the year. Chapman won the job because Hendricks would probably be the on paper answer, but he did not have a good spring at all. Like he got shelled in almost every outing he had. He hasn't pitched really since 2022, because in 23 he was out for 2 weeks. He came back from cancer, and then 2 weeks later, it was discovered he tore his UCL, unfortunately, and then got Tommy John. They signed him. He tried to make a comeback at the end of last year, but they ended up shutting him down because I think he had a setback. Whatever.
Also, too, it wasn't really worth it at that point.
Yeah, they're like, you know what? We're not. How much of a difference is he going to make? Because Kenley was hurt too.
Kenley was Kenleying.
Kenley, yeah, he was old grandpa having a freaking back problem. Whatever.
Get off my lawn.
Get off. Okay. Aroldis Chapman. You have Justin Slayton. Like I said, Hendricks. You have Garrett Whitlock, Justin Wilson. Greg Weissert made the roster per Alex Spear. And then you have Zach Kelly made the roster too. Then the last spot as of Tuesday before opening day, Tuesday night, is between Bernardino and Cooper Criswell. Should be noted that Cora said it was the 5th rotation spot is likely Newcomb. Likely, probably will. The only other guy is Criswell could start, but then again, I don't see it. So, yeah, it's between Bernardino and Criswell for that last bullpen spot. Derek, what are your thoughts on this bullpen? I think
Well, I'll just say
me and you know the issues.
I'll say of note, Bernardino and Criswell both have one option. So either way, that doesn't necessarily make a difference.
Bernardino has one option.
They're both going to get used this year, so it doesn't make a difference. Let's be honest. Bernardino at some point is going to get sent down. If we're going to be completely honest, unless he gets injured, he's getting sent down. And I think this bullpen has the potential to be really good, but there are still lots of question marks. Chapman's 37, Hendricks is 36, right? Those are question marks. How's Garrett Whitlock going to look being back in the bullpen over the course of a full season? We have faith that he's going to be the Garrett Whitlock of 2021, but we don't necessarily know. Justin Slayton was really good last year. Very well could have a good year this year, but if he needs to step into the closer role, he's never done that before, right? Will he be able to do that? That is a question mark. And then you have Justin Wilson as a veteran. He's 37. He did not have a good year last year. And then it's Bernardino or Criswell, and then Weissert and Kelly as the last two. Well, Weissert and Kelly, and then Bernardino or Criswell. I think Luis Guerrero getting option. I know he kind of struggled in spring, but I still thought it was interesting. But at the same time, he's got 3 options left, so I can kind of understand why. But I think mid-season, if they stay healthy, I think Guerrero will be able to stay healthy. That's not concern. But Brian Mata, hello, he's alive. Spring training, he's not dead.
Here's my thoughts though.
Both of those guys pushing.
But here's my thought though. I thought you optioned Luis Guerrero so you can give a guy like Adam Ottavino or Austin Adams a chance.
It might be Sean Newcomb though that gets that spot because they need a starter.
Right. That's where everything got thrown off. Giving Newcomb the spot, which is like, what? Because
but at the same time, I kind of see it because Moore is going to stick in the minors, and it seems like all the other guys are sticking in the minors. So it's in that sense, if they're all going to stay in the minors, you might as well keep them in the minors off the 40-man.
Yeah, it's interesting. Don't get me wrong, but I wish if Guerrero made it. The reason you send him down is because he has high potential. You still work with him because you clearly have a lot of faith. You can roll with the guys, see what the guys who have shown you something, who are on short leashes, can give you, and if they fail, boom, he's next. And you've worked with him on some things so he can be better when he comes back. That's why you do it. Is it the right decision? I think time's going to tell, because if he comes in and the Red Sox bullpen's struggling, he comes in, he proves that he's a good closer, boom. But we know, I think you and I know, if he gets hot, holy cow, good freaking luck. There is no way you hit off of him. No way. He had 2 walks. Like, his biggest thing is walks. In all of his appearances last year, he only had 2. And he pitched in 6 games?
Yeah. Although I will say the strikeout rate was down a little bit, so I wonder if there was a conceded effort there to limit the walks and throw more pitches over the plate. Yeah. Obviously, it worked, but Red Sox philosophy is throw good stuff over the plate. Like, have elite stuff and throw it over the plate is the most ideal situation for the Red Sox. And I think that's where guys like Guerrero and even Brian Mata, if he stays healthy, fit in.
Mata's in an interesting spot because I think because I'm going to give Cooper Criswell the edge just because he's a long relief pitcher and the Red Sox don't really have one right now. So I'm going to assume Bernardino starts the year in AAA. Your next guys up are Guerrero, Bernardino, then I think it's Brian Mata. Or it's Matt Moore, whatever. I don't know.
I think it might be Brian Mata, in all honesty.
They considered it. They considered it.
I said this on Pest Report last night, but I'll just rehash it here. I think by midseason, Luis Guerrero and Mata are both going to be in the bullpen, and I think by the end of the year, they're going to establish themselves as bullpen pieces for the Red Sox.
I think Brian Mata might be up sooner than we think. Is that crazy to think?
No, honestly, I don't think that
because
if he's healthy, it's the biggest if in the Red Sox system is if Brian Mata's healthy, he could be lights out of the bullpen.
But people have been saying that for 4 years now.
But that's the thing. He's never been able to stay healthy, and the whole reason he signed with the Red Sox way back as a teenager was because he got hurt and didn't sign with the Brewers. That's the entire reason he's even with the Red Sox is because he got hurt. And the reason he hasn't been a big leaguer yet is because he's been hurt. He got DFA'd this offseason because he was consistently hurt, and there were some negative things coming out of the Red Sox about Mata. He re-signs on a minor league deal, seemingly turned all those things around in spring training, and has put himself in a good spot to be one of those first options up. Obviously, he's not going to be ahead of Guerrero or Bernardino because they're on the 40-man, but if you need to start pulling people who aren't on the 40-man, he's in a really good position to set himself up to be that first person up that isn't on the 40-man and then establish himself in the big leagues.
Big what if, and then you also have some solid options like Austin Adams, Matt Moore, Michael Fulmer. I like what I saw of Wyatt Mills this year. And you have Isaiah Campbell, who looked okay sometimes last year, but he stunk too. He had his moments, a lot of bad moments last year, but in April, he looked pretty okay, but whatever. You have depth there. A lot to prove for the bullpen early on. I think when it comes to the closing role, I wouldn't rule out Whitlock. I think Whitlock should have been the closer after 21. Because they didn't have anyone in 22. They threw off John Schreiber's arm.
Hansel Robles before he started sucking.
Hansel Robles did nothing that year. Sucking. Come on.
No, I know. That's the point I'm making.
He was not a closer, though.
You realize I had to name him.
Who?
I had to name him, though.
Oh, shut up.
Hey, to be fair, that 2021 run was special.
I was talking about 2022, dummy.
No, I know, but anytime you can bring up Hansel Robles in 2021, that's, that September postseason.
September Hansel Robles. Okay,
yeah,
fine.
That was crazy.
But anyways, point being, they have a lot to prove. If Chapman can be solid, doesn't have to be elite, like elite. He has to be a solid closer. That's the biggest question, right? Like, Aroldis Chapman's old, man. He's all over the place. On paper, did not have a great season last year. Let's see.
Great,
okay,
not
379, but 379 ERA, 61 in the third or 2/3. Yeah, that's not bad actually. Whip of 1.
What you would want out of your closer?
That's an Aroldis Chapman season.
But yeah. Is it what you'd want out of your closer? Probably not. But at the same time, I think it's interesting. I think the
only
main
14 saves though.
Yeah, I think the main thing
because they had Bednar.
Yeah, that is true. I do wonder though. Well, Bednar had a bad year last year too. He had a rough year.
He's still the closer.
Yeah, exactly. That's still I'm saying.
You wonder.
I think it would be funny if after all these years the Yankees have Chapman, trade him to the Cubs, wins a World Series, immediately signs back with the Yankees, doesn't win, anything, and then eventually finds his way. Also he was on the Rangers World Series team.
He was on the Rangers World Series team.
The year after he leaves the Yankees. It'd be funny. Finds his way to the Red Sox and wins another one. That'd be kind of funny. You cannot lie. That would be hilarious.
Poetic justice, if anything.
Oh, it would be hilarious. It just would be.
Yeah. And other guys like Justin Wilson, also didn't have a great spring, but I'm intrigued to see what he can give you. He looked solid.
On a major league deal, you might as well.
Might as well see what he can give you. They signed him for a reason, to a major league deal. Like, Justin Wilson has 14 years of 14 years of service time or something like that.
Something like that. He's got 12
That was
years
a
of
rough
service
one.
time. Chapman's
12.
got 14.
Chapman's got 14.
Yeah.
Sheesh. But yeah, a lot to prove.
Jeez
If everything goes right,
but they're
it'll be
almost
a
old enough to be
solid
grandparents.
Shut up.
It'll be
Shut up. It'll be a solid bullpen. That's my point. Oh, if a lot goes right, but if two of those guys, because after Chapman, Slayton, Hendricks, and even Whitlock, it gets really thin. Even Hendricks is question mark.
It's true.
It gets really thin quickly if you lose one of those guys, really. I know I'm not counting Guerrero, but it gets thin.
I think that's where someone like a Luis Guerrero, though, could really prove valuable, though, if one of those back-end guys do go out.
True. But, heck, even Zach Kelly's not... If he's a seventh-inning guy, that's fine.
If I see Zach Kelly in the 8th inning, I might lose my mind.
Well, they had no choice last year, dog.
No, I know they had no choice, but I might lose my mind if that happens again this year. It's nothing against Zach Kelly, but, the amount of people that would have to get injured in the bullpen for that to happen?
Jesus Christ. Yeah.
Oh my God, please, no.
Sign Bobby Dahlbeck to be a pitcher.
Nah, Joey Gallo.
Joey Gallo.
Joey Gallo.
Should wrap things up soon.
Imagine winning a World Series with Chapman and Joey Gallo in the bullpen. Just stick it to
and Bobby Dahlbeck.
Oh my God, that'd be funny.
Okay.
Not gonna happen, but it'll be funny.
Before we go,
yes.
Give me one hot take.
Hot take?
Give me one hot take. I don't care about takes. I want a hot take.
Willier gets traded at the deadline.
You said it, not me. You want my hot take?
Might as well.
Marcelo Meyer is up by May 1st.
It's hot, but also too, so very well could be Trevor Story gets injured in April again. So it's hot, but there's a logical way it could happen.
Yeah.
But I do like it, though. It's going to be a fun year. It should be a fun year. It's going to be sad.
Okay, another thing before we go. Crochet's opening day stat line. I'll go
Perfect
first
game.
while you think of it.
Perfect game. I'm joking.
Perfect game, immaculate game.
I wish. Immaculate game, 81 pitches, 81 strikes, 27 strikeouts. Just
all whiffs, all swings and misses.
All whiffs.
There's no contact whatsoever.
Every single pitch in the strike zone, too. All whiffs in the strike zone.
All right. My Crochet quality start.
You go first. I'll go 6 innings, gives up 2 let's go with 11 strikeouts. It feels like a fun number. Let's go with 11 strikeouts.
I think he goes 6 as well. I'll say he gives up. We'll go 1 run on 3 hits.
Sorry,
2 walks.
1 earned, 1 unearned run. 2 runs, but only 1 earned.
Sure.
Yeah.
We'll do 2. I'll do 2 runs, 1 earned, 1 unearned. 3 hits, 2 walks. Fuck it, 10 strikeouts.
Yeah, that's probably around. I think we're around the same spot, in all honesty. That kind of feels. While we're here, though, before we go, who's ready for the fun fact of the day?
Go.
The Red Sox are playing Monterey. Guess who's on? Guess who plays for them?
I saw this. John.
I know. No. Red Sox legend, Raimel Tapia.
Oh, that's right. I did see that.
Yeah, because I'm the one who pointed it out.
Raimel Tapia.
Yeah.
God. Carried 5 outfielders in 23. They carried Verdugo. Who else did they carry? Center field was not Kike. Center field was...
I think it was 23.
Oh, my God. 23. Right field was Verdugo.
Kike.
No, he was shortstop in 23.
No, because
Yes, he was. Yes, he was
Story
shortstop.
started the
Story
year.
was not. Nope. He started the year with the remember internal brace.
Oh, my brain's no.
Who started in center? Why am I
Let me see. It
blanking?
was no.
Duvall.
They
It was
had
Duvall.
in
It was Duvall, and then left field
that's
was Yoshida.
22. That's 22. That no, it's 22. It's 22. I was thinking 20.
No,
Was it? No,
22.
it's
He was
23.
healthy.
No, sorry, no, it was 23. No, it was
It
23.
was
No, it was
left
Yoshida.
to right. It was Yoshida,
Yoshida.
Duvall, and Verdugo with Ref Snyder and
Yes.
Tapia on the bench.
Yes. Yeah.
There you go.
I was thinking 22 because Yoshida wasn't there.
22 was Verdugo and left on opening day. Center
Yeah,
field was Kike. Right field was
it was bad.
JBJ.
Yeah, it was Jagger.
I don't think Ref Snyder was on. The fourth outfielder at the time was someone else.
Lord knows who. It might have been. You know what? It might have been Franchi Cordero. In all honesty,
Yeah, whatever.
it might have been. Shout out Franchi. Whatever he's doing now, I don't know what the heck.
I'm done. Where's
What did
JD
Franchi do
Martinez?
last? Oh, Franchi played in the Dominican Winter League.
Yeah, yippee ki
He also had a 752 OPS. No, sorry. Oh my God, nope. That's in the minor leagues in Japan. In the big club, he had a 351 OPS for last year in 23 games. I'm so sorry, Franchi. Damn.
Womp womp.
All right,
Anywho.
that's it. We're wrapping this up. All right, shout out Franchi though, the Frenchman. That home run in Philly
Ranch
will
Ranch.
always live in my memory. 474 foot of ranch. All right, we're wrapping it up. For Jason, my name is Derek. We will see you next week on Monday. We will be going up next week. So we'll be recording every Sunday, kind of giving a weekly recap. And we're going to mix in some things during the week on socials, so keep in tune for that. Yeah, like I said, for Jason, my name is Derek. Thanks for tuning in to the Fenway Focus, and we will see you next time.
Go Sox.